Listen to this every morning. Stoicism. Part 1. Introduction. The Power of Morning. Before the world begins knocking on your mind with notifications, messages, schedules, and worries, give yourself a few minutes to pause. Not to do anything, not to prepare, but simply to be truly present, because you are here. And that, though it may seem ordinary, is a privilege. Take a deep breath. Feel the cool air entering your nose, filling your chest, and gently flowing out like a soft whisper. Quiet, yet full of life. Outside, the first light of day gently slips through the curtain, casting a pale glow on a familiar corner of the room. The air is still pure, untouched by dust or haste. Birds chirp softly on the eaves. The scent of coffee quietly drifts from the kitchen, and somewhere, the breeze weaves through the leaves, brushing against the window like a peaceful greeting. There is no loud sound, no urgent rhythm, only life, breathing softly around you and within you. Some people went to sleep last night and never woke up. But you are different. Today, you are still here. You have one more day to live, to love, to begin again, or simply to be silent and whole. And because of that, each morning is not just repetition, it's a miracle, an open door, a second chance, a blank page. Before you step into your roles, as a leader, a father, a child, a deadline chaser, ask yourself a very simple question. What do I want to carry into today? Not in your wallet, but in your mind. Not your to-do list, but the state of your soul that will accompany you. Do you want to enter the day with a light heart or a heavy mind? Do you want to live fast or live deep? Do you want to react to life or consciously choose how to live it? You don't need the answer right now. Just start with presence and a reminder that you have the power to choose. Perhaps to truly begin a meaningful day, we need to return to the simplest things: a breath, a ray of sunlight, a moment of silence, and gratitude. So how long has it been since you truly felt the gift of simply being alive? Part 2, Stillness and Gratitude. A Stoic does not begin the day by checking their phone, worrying about the to-do list, or chasing a sense of urgency. They begin with silence and awareness. Not a forced silence, but a peaceful space where they can truly listen to themselves. A silence that nourishes, a silence that heals. In that silence, we truly begin to see the early morning light slanting across the floor, to hear the bird song in the distance, sounds we often miss when living too fast, to feel our bodies, each small movement as we rise, each slow breath opening up the space within. We often think we must achieve something great before we are allowed to feel grateful. A better job, more money, a fitter body, a more complete life. But the truth is, gratitude doesn't wait for circumstances. It only waits for attention. Take a moment to look again. Today, you can still open your eyes. You can still feel the warmth of your bed, still hear the sounds of the world, still touch your own being. You don't need anything more to have a reason to be grateful beyond this very moment. The Stoic knows how fragile life is. Everything we love can disappear, without warning, without reason. And so, they don't wait for loss to learn appreciation. They practice gratitude for even the smallest things, because it is those very things that form the foundation of true peace. Don't take anything for granted. Epictetus. When you are grateful, you no longer feel lacking. Your mind is no longer dragged by envy, demands, or comparison. You stand grounded in the present, where you are already enough. And from that place of enoughness, you can live, act, and love without needing to prove anything. Gratitude is what holds you up in the stormy days. It doesn't erase hardship, but it helps you see the light even when the sky is still dark. You can begin your morning with a simple whisper, "Thank you for being alive," or write down 3 things you're grateful for, even the smallest ones: a pair of comfortable slippers, a glass of cool water, or the presence of someone beside you. These things may be small, but if you pay close enough attention, you'll see they are the foundations of lasting happiness. Gratitude is a habit, and like any habit, it must be practiced. Each morning, choose one thing, just one, to give thanks for: a loved one, a hard lesson, a rainless morning, a second chance. Be thankful, not because everything is perfect, but because you are still here, awake enough to continue the journey. And from that foundation of gratitude, you can begin the day not just with a plan, but with a clear and meaningful intention to live. Part 3. Set an intention, not just a goal. After you've spent a few minutes in the morning being present and grateful, there's one simple question, yet powerful enough to guide your entire day. How will I live today? We often set goals for a new day: finish this task, reply to that email, complete our workout minutes, finish a chapter of a book. Goals are about what you want to do. Intentions are about who you want to be. Goals focus on outcomes. Intentions focus on your state of being, your attitude, the things that bring depth and awareness to every action. A Stoic doesn't just set goals. They set clear daily intentions for how they want to live. They don't let themselves be swept away by reactions, pressures, or external chaos. They consciously shape their mindset as they step into life. For example, instead of thinking, "I have to get through 3 meetings today," set an intention: "I will remain calm and present in every conversation." When you set such an intention, you give yourself an inner compass. It's like a spiritual compass, helping you stay grounded even when everything around you is chaotic. Intentions don't need to be complicated. In fact, the simpler, the better, so you can remember it, feel it, and live it throughout the day. Today, your intention might be, "I will listen instead of arguing." "I will act kindly without expecting anything in return." "I will allow myself to slow down and not be carried away by pointless worries." An intention is not a checklist. It is a spirit. And when your spirit is aligned, your actions will carry more depth. You are not just working, you are cultivating patience. You are not just caring for others, you are practicing unconditional love. You are not just being silent, you are choosing not to be provoked by ego. Stoicism doesn't teach us to avoid emotions or pretend we're untouched by the world. It simply reminds us that in any circumstance, we can choose how we live on the inside. And that choice begins with an intention. A small intention, when repeated each day, becomes a way of life. A way of life, when lived mindfully, becomes a character. And character is destiny. Do not let the outer world control you. Let your inner intention guide you. Marcus Aurelius. Every morning, ask yourself, what quality do I want to bring into today? And simply being honest with your answer is already a long step on the journey to mastering yourself. Part 4. Embrace discomfort as a teacher. We often have the tendency to avoid things that make us uncomfortable: delays, pressure, criticism, or situations beyond our control. We label them as troubles, bad things, annoyances, and then we react with frustration, escape, or complaints. But to someone living by the Stoic philosophy, discomfort is one of the most valuable opportunities for inner training. These are not enemies. They are silent teachers. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius. This seemingly simple statement contains one of life's most powerful truths, because the very situations that create stress are the places where patience, courage, and emotional mastery are forged. Imagine a familiar situation. You're on your way to an important meeting and you hit traffic. The car isn't moving. The clock keeps ticking. You feel your heart race, your grip tighten on the steering wheel, frustration rising. In that moment, you can react as usual. Curse, blame, hit the wheel. Or you can choose the Stoic response. Pause, breathe slowly, recognize you cannot control the traffic, but you can control how you respond. Then you set a small challenge for yourself. I will use these 15 minutes of traffic to practice patience. You turn the obstacle into an opportunity. You turn that very inconvenient moment into a training ground for inner resilience. And over time you realize what once irritated you no longer has power over you. Discomfort is the most honest test of mental discipline. No one knows how calm they truly are until adversity arrives. And you'll see, discomfort takes many forms. A rude colleague, a conflicting opinion on the internet, a minor ache in your body, a rainy morning when you plan to go outside. And breathe. All of these, if seen through the lens of awareness, can become teachers. The Stoic does not wish for an easy life. They simply wish to be strong enough to walk through difficulty without losing who they are. We cannot choose what happens to us, but we can choose how we respond. Epictetus. To embrace discomfort does not mean to suffer in silence. It is a conscious act of observation, learning, transformation. It's the way you say to yourself, I am not ruled by circumstances. I am a student in every circumstance. The more you practice this, the less fear you'll have in the face of challenges. Because instead of asking, why me? You'll begin to ask, what is the lesson here? And when you start living with that mindset, nothing can truly throw you off course. Part 5. Let go of what you cannot control. Have you ever felt exhausted from trying to control everything? Trying to make others understand you? Trying to make the world treat you fairly? Trying to avoid every risk, uncertainty, and mistake? But no matter how hard you try, there are always things beyond your reach. Other people's attitudes, today's weather, the outcome of an interview, or even a sudden pain. And that's where Stoic philosophy steps in, with a simple yet powerful reminder. Focus on what you can control. Let go of the rest. This is not just a saying. It's the core of inner peace. Because when you pour your energy into things you cannot control, you're placing your life in the hands of someone else. You become a boat drifting in stormy seas, every external change shaking you, panicking you. But if you learn to turn inward, to focus on what is truly yours, your mind, your attitude, your responses, your behavior, you'll begin to find an unshakable ground, true freedom. You can't control what others say about you, but you can control whether you respond with anger or stay silent and move on. You can't control whether it rains or shines, but you can bring an umbrella and an open attitude. Imagine a morning where you wake up to gloomy skies, traffic congestion, and your lunchbox spills on the floor. A chain of unexpected events can easily leave you irritated, declaring, today is a bad day. But the Stoic will pause, breathe, and ask, in this situation, what is within my control? Not the car next to you, not the weather, not someone's careless action, but your attitude. You can choose to respond with calm. You can learn to laugh at yourself and say, it's just a lunchbox. I still have a healthy body and a brand new day to live. It may sound small, but these very moments are where you practice true strength. Freedom is not found in everything going your way, but in not being enslaved by what is out of your control. Epictetus. Letting go does not mean indifference. It is clarity, knowing where your boundary lies. It's acting from a place of intention, rather than being swept away by emotion. Every time you choose a conscious response, every time you say, I will not let this steal my peace, you are strengthening your inner freedom. And in a world full of uncertainty, that freedom is the one thing no one can ever take from you. Part 6. You are the one at the helm, mastering your reactions. Imagine your day as a sea voyage. You are adrift on the ocean of life, where there is bright sunshine, but also large waves, strong winds, and sudden storms. You can't predict the weather with certainty. You can't stop the winds from rising, but you do have a rudder, and that rudder is your mind. Each morning, you wake up and face countless unforeseen situations. A tactless comment from someone, an email that confuses you, a glance that makes you doubt yourself. Those waves are real, but what matters most is, how will you steer? A Stoic is not someone who feels nothing. They don't suppress emotions. They simply learn how to consciously choose their responses rather than letting emotions control their actions. It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. Epictetus. Reaction is a choice, and calmness is actually a skill that can be trained. Someone gets angry at you, you can shout back, or you can listen in silence. Someone criticizes you, you can take offense, or you can learn and adjust. Something goes wrong, you can complain, or you can take a deep breath and move forward. Each of these moments is a chance to practice steering the rudder. In a world where most people react on impulse, the Stoic chooses to pause, observe, and then respond. That is the difference between a panicked passenger on the ship and the one holding the wheel, steady in the storm. You may not control the circumstances, but you can always control yourself. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies your power. Viktor Frankl. Start practicing with small things. When someone says something unpleasant, take a breath before replying. When you feel impatience rising, place your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat. When you're about to react impulsively, ask yourself, where will this reaction take me? You will notice every mastered response is a step toward greater freedom, and with each passing day, you'll feel a quiet strength, no longer dragged by others' words, no longer swept away by fleeting emotions. You become the one steering the ship of your life. Mastering your reaction doesn't mean controlling everything. It means choosing what's best for your mind and your dignity. It's a small act, but it reflects great inner power. And in that calm strength, you realize you are not a victim of circumstance. You are the master of your own life. Part 7. Stoic Thinking in Everyday Life. When people hear Stoicism, many imagine old philosophers with long white beards, sitting in Roman squares, pondering metaphysical questions far removed from real life. But in truth, Stoicism was not born for scholars or sages alone. It is an art of living for busy people, for those navigating work, family, and daily choices. It's not the big things, but how we live in the small ones that shapes who we are. Marcus Aurelius. The most alive form of Stoicism doesn't live in books. It lives in the everyday moments of life. At work, when you're misunderstood in a meeting, You can choose to stay silent and observe rather than instantly react. You know reacting impulsively may make things worse, so you choose to respond once you've regained calm. That's not weakness, it's the strength of self-control. You complete a difficult task, but no one acknowledges it. Instead of resenting it, you ask yourself, did I do this for recognition or because I'm committed to my values? A Stoic does what's right, even when no one is watching, because the conscience is the most honest, silent witness. In the family, your child spills water on the floor after a long, tiring day. You could snap, or you could smile gently and wipe it up in silence. Because you know your reaction is the life lesson your child will remember. Your partner forgets an important date. You could punish them with cold silence. Or, like a Stoic, you choose to communicate honestly and calmly because you know relationships built on kindness last longer than those built on passive retaliation. Within yourself, you feel like skipping your morning workout, but you ask, how do I want to feel an hour from now? You don't wait for motivation. You practice discipline as a form of self-respect. You see someone flaunting their dazzling success online. A part of you feels envious. But instead of spiraling into self-criticism, you pause and whisper to yourself, I don't control their journey. I only need to stay honest with mine. And that is Stoicism in everyday life. Not loud, not dogmatic, not perfect. Just small choices made in mindfulness. Each time you choose silence over anger, each time you choose honesty over going with the crowd, each time you return to right action instead of blaming the world, you're practicing Stoicism, not through words, but through the way you live. Philosophy is not about how we speak, but how we live. Seneca. You don't need to be wise. You don't need lofty philosophy. You just need to be a little more aware in the smallest of things. And then, day by day, you'll find yourself steadier, lighter, and closer to who you truly are than ever before. Part 8. Practicing Presence and Conscious Action. We often live as if we will never die and die as if we never truly lived. Seneca. Perhaps this quote needs no elaborate explanation because it speaks directly to a reality we all live every day. We move through life without truly living. We eat without tasting. We hear without listening. We appear present, but our minds are elsewhere. Presence, in the spirit of Stoic philosophy, is not an abstract idea. It is an intentional act. To choose to be fully here in each moment of life. When you eat a meal, don't let your hand hold the chopsticks while your mind drifts into unread emails. Pause, look at the food, smell the aroma, chew slowly, and truly taste. No need for photos, no need to share, just be there. When you hug a loved one, don't let your thoughts wander to work, deadlines, or unresolved issues. Let your heart soften. Feel the warmth, the life of the person right there in your arms, because you don't know when the next hug will come. When you talk to someone, don't just wait for your turn to reply. Listen fully, with your ears, your eyes, and the quiet in your heart. That's not just respect for them. It's respect for life itself unfolding in that moment. A Stoic knows the past is gone. The future hasn't arrived. Only the present is where we can act. Don't live as if you have unlimited time. You only have this present moment. Marcus Aurelius. Living with presence doesn't mean avoiding plans or abandoning goals. It simply means whatever you're doing, do it completely. If you're walking, then walk. No need for podcasts or checking your phone. If you're washing dishes, then wash. Feel the water, the movement of your hands, the simplicity of the task. It may sound small, but in these small acts, you reclaim mastery over your life. Presence is the foundation of all conscious choices. When you are present, you don't react impulsively or live on autopilot. You pause, you observe, then you act from a place of clarity. Conscious action doesn't mean doing something grand. It means choosing what's right, what's kind, what's true, even when no one is watching. So how do you practice presence? Start with the breath. Whenever you feel scattered, take a deep breath and recognize that you're breathing. When eating, just eat. When listening, just listen. When walking, be aware you are walking. Ask yourself one question each day. Am I truly living in this moment? This simple question can bring you back. Life makes no promise that tomorrow will come, but you have today, and you have the choice to be present. That is not just living, that is living fully. And only when you are truly present in your life can you move forward with clarity, peace, and inner strength. Part 9, Cultivating Calm in a Chaotic World. The world out there doesn't wait for you to be ready. The moment you open your eyes, the noise begins. News, messages, deadlines, expectations, comparisons, and nameless worries. If you're not careful, you'll get swept away from the very first minute, and then the entire day goes by. Not because you chose how to live, but because you were reacting to everything thrown your way. That's why a Stoic chooses a different kind of beginning. They choose to return, to repeat, and to imprint the most important reminders onto their mind. Habit forms destiny. Aristotle. What you hear, what you think, what you repeat every day gradually becomes who you are. No one expects you to become unshakable overnight. But if each morning you give yourself a few minutes of silence, a simple reminder like what you're hearing now, then little by little, you are rewiring your mind toward clarity, calm, and intentional living. Just like muscles need daily training, so does the mind. Not to become strong in a rigid way, but to become steady and truly free. Every time you repeat a truthful idea like, I cannot control everything, but I can control my response. I can choose calm in the middle of chaos. I live here and now. You are planting a seed in your subconscious, and when you plant the right seeds, each passing day is no longer a weary cycle, but a deliberate journey. You begin in stillness, you move with steadiness, and you end your day in gratitude, no matter how it unfolded. You don't need to change your whole life. You just need to choose one thing. What is the core value you want to bring into today? Peace, patience, clarity. Choose it and repeat it every day. You can play this audio again each morning while making coffee, washing your face, or sitting in quiet before your day begins. Let these reminders become more than just words. Let them become your inner habit. Because if you begin your day with awareness, then no matter how strong the winds are, no matter which way they blow, you will walk forward with calm and intention. So don't just listen once and move on. Come back to this message every morning. Let it become the firm foundation of your life's journey. One day, then one week, and eventually a whole life can be built from moments that begin in stillness like this. Part 10. Conclusion. Become the person you want to be. You've walked through this journey from the very first minutes, when the world was still quiet, when there was only breath, light, and heartbeat, and now you are at the end, which is also a new beginning. Together we've explored 9 steps: morning mindfulness, gratitude, intentional living, calmness, letting go, mastering your reactions, daily practice, living with presence, and nurturing inner stillness in a chaotic world. Not to make you perfect, but to bring you back to yourself, the person you truly want to become. You don't need to read every Stoic book, retreat from the world, or suppress your emotions. You just need to be present, truly present, in each small choice you make every day. You only need to live consciously, align with the values you believe in, and take responsibility for your life. Be the light, not the noise. Be the actor, not the victim. Light doesn't need to speak loudly. It only needs to show up, steady, quiet, and bright enough to illuminate itself. In the same way, a Stoic doesn't need to prove anything. They just need to live truthfully, firmly, and clearly. Each day is an opportunity, not to prove something to others, but to become better than who you were yesterday. You might forget some of the words in this video, but hold on to one truth. You always have the power to choose. To choose calm over anger, to choose action over complaint, to choose presence over distraction, to choose what's right, even when no one is watching. That's how you build a life, not with grand decisions, but with hundreds of small, repeated choices each day. And one day when you look back, you'll realize you didn't become a Stoic as a label. You simply lived as a Stoic, quietly, without display, just an ordinary person, living peacefully in a noisy world. So ask yourself, are you ready to live today as a Stoic? Not tomorrow, not next year, but today. If there is one thing to take from this entire journey, let it be this. You cannot control the world, but you can master yourself, and that alone is enough to change everything. If you ever need a reminder, come back and listen to this video every morning. As a ritual, as a gentle nudge, as a quiet companion, and then step into the world, steady, mindful, and full of light. If you found this video helpful, support our journey by hitting like to spread positive energy, subscribing to stoicCoreX for deeper content each week, and sharing this video with someone who may need a mindful reminder today. Thank you for being here. See you again on another quiet morning.